Destiny, who hurt you?
This is so hard for people to understand. I'm not even going to say women because it's true for men too. This is really hard for people to understand. When you are dating somebody or when you're in a relationship with somebody, you want to feel like you are everything to that person, that you are the alpha and the omega, and that every possible thing that person could desire or want can come from you. Hey guys, what's up? Notice I have a new background. It's because I was traveling, okay? And if I was traveling, guess what? I was probably logged into my Surfshark VPN, okay? Check out Surfshark. Go to surfshark.deals/destiny. Enter promo code Destiny. You can get 83% off and 3 months for free. And what's better, if you try it out, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for it, don't like it, get rid of it. That's on you, okay? No questions asked. Log in. You can watch all your favorite TV shows. You can have servers anywhere in the world. No logs, privacy guaranteed. What a great way to just access your favorite shows, TV shows, everything from all over the world on any one of your devices. And if you want, there's also Surfshark Alert. You can sign up for if you want notifications of password leaks, or there's also Surfshark Search. If you feel like Google or Bing aren't doing it for you, they have their own search engine. You can use that, no logs, private, all that good stuff as well. Okay, surfshark.deals/destiny. Use promo code Destiny when you sign out. Okay, when you sign up, 83% off. 3 months for free, 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't forget.
Oh, you got a haircut.
Yep, all nice and cleaned up just for you.
I know, I like that. I'm so glad you did, because all that hair you had on your head and your face, you look like a miniature Neanderthal. What's up, everybody? This is Tree, and back by popular demand, we have a 101 Q&A in reference to relationship with Stephen. Hey, Stephen, thank you for joining me again.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, as always. So as you all know, I think we did our first collab earlier this year, and many of you liked it. Some of you, and we're going to address that in the questions, the Q&A. But since most of you loved it, I decided to bring him on. And so we're going to do it again for round 2. And we're going to start with the women first. And then we're going to finish it off with the men. And then we're going to do a fun lightning round. I think Stephen is going to enjoy that one. So how you been, by the way?
I've been good. Just hanging out, doing my thing. Just moved to Miami, Florida, which is fun.
So. All right. You down here in the South Side. Oh, so you came to a red state, I see, huh?
You know, blue city, but yeah.
Yeah, you got to put that in there. All right. All right, here we go. So we're going to go with question number 1. And this is the questions for the women. And here we go. Tree, I would like you to answer this question along with Destiny. Why should anyone listen to Destiny or take his advice about relationships when he admitted to being a cheater? And I would like to go first, and then I'll let him go second. Now, I know I had a couple of women have a problem with the fact that Stephen admitted to cheating. And I mean, nobody's perfect. However, I do believe I talked to some of you ladies and to see who had a problem with him cheating and who didn't. And it turned out that the ones that didn't have a problem with him, cheating on his past ex were women who've never been cheated on. And I think the 2 of you, or maybe it's about 3 of you, who have been cheated on have a problem with Stephen. And I think that's the reason why you all have unresolved issues. If you haven't forgiven your past partner for cheating on you, you will hold contempt for anyone, and in this case for Stephen, because you want him to pay for his transgressions, because your past boyfriend didn't pay and you didn't get revenge or whatever. You didn't get over the fact that he cheated on you. So I think this is something that requires therapy or some kind of way of you getting over it. But it's something you have to recognize that you saw something in Stephen that triggered you from a past pain. And I think he did a wonderful job. I actually love his answers to the question, and he's very experienced. Yes, he's a liberal, but still, I thought his answers were great. So that's my reason for bringing him on. And I did not care about the cheating because none of us have a squeaky past. And I'm not caping for Stephen. I'm just saying that, sometimes you all are a little, nobody has a perfect past. So I don't think I thought it was a little unfair for you all to hold that against him. What say you, Stephen, about this?
So I don't know if you've noticed this, but like cheating is like the response to it is like the worst thing that you can ever do in the world. Like people will be more mad online about like somebody cheating than like killing their kid. There's like an insane
Yeah.
concept. And I can kind of understand why, I guess, because people, either one, they've had a personal experience, which makes it really difficult, because like they relate to it. And then to it, like, as it hits on your self-esteem, because oftentimes people get a lot of validation from a partner, and then if a partner cheats on them, it's like, oh, so I'm like a horrible person, like I'm worthless. Like that's the feeling you get. I can understand like the emotional response. I think it's a little extreme sometimes, but then again, I'm kind of off the norm on that. In terms of like, why should you listen to any advice? You don't have to listen to anything that I say. I have a lot of experience. I've made a lot of mistakes, obviously. I think sometimes getting advice or getting information from people who have been in bad areas or have done bad things can be interesting, as long as that person has been a little bit introspective. I think it's really cringy sometimes when people try to give advice or explain things for people who haven't been there.
Yeah.
So listening to somebody say like, oh, this is why, a parent might mess up parenting their kid. And it's like, this person is 37 years old with no kids. Like, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Why are you even pretending, right? You can bring on other people and talk, and you can try to like it right. But like sometimes getting a firsthand experience, I think, is a good, I think that person can have a greater level of understanding than somebody that's a little bit more detached from the issue. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Who has more leverage in a relationship over the other? A conservative husband with a liberal wife, or a conservative wife with a liberal husband when it comes to decisions, kids, and or money?
So I understand the framing of the question in terms of like the liberal conservative thing. So I'm going to give an answer that's a little bit doesn't hit on that exactly. People talk about power dynamics in relationships. And in my opinion, like what a power dynamic is basically somebody else has something that either you want a lot, or they have something that they have more of than you that allows them to exert some level of control over you. Now, depending on what particular camp you're in online, people tend to hyper focus on some of these things. So like a left-leaning person might hyper focus on the fact that men have money and careers and power, strength, like they can use this to exert influence over women in negative ways. But like a MGTOW or an incel or a far-right person might say, well, women are actually leveraging, the power of the pussy. Men are crazy and they'll do anything to impress a woman or fuck one. Not to take the boring fence-sitting position, but both these people are like absolutely correct, In terms of like who has more power in a relationship, I mean, the answer is kind of both parties. It just depends on what we're talking about, Women tend to do better in courts when it comes to taking children. Women tend to have more dating market power, and that they can, sleep around easier and do this. But men, tend to be able to have more financial stability and can provide that to other people. And when they separate from relationships, that financial stability usually remains intact. A man can go from relationship to relationship to relationship and not really suffer any dating market penalties, except to maybe really Christian women, although maybe not. Whereas a woman can only go through so many relationships where if a woman gets kids, it makes it very hard for other people to date her. If a woman, gets older in age and she's relying like on her looks and stuff, it could be harder. So yeah, I mean, like the leverages that exist in relationships are very complicated. It's going to vary from relationship to relationship. And, I think I'd be hard pressed to ever say that like this person has more leverage in this relationship as a general, because typically like the levers are different on both sides, and both people have leverage in different ways.
Do you find, I see men, not all, complain about how the court system favors women. And that's true to a certain extent. However, I don't see many men going for full custody of their children. Sometimes in bad circumstances, when the mother's absolutely horrible, they have no choice. But for the most part, not even joint, and that could be anecdotal, but I don't even see them going for even joint custody.
I wish I had a study on hand because I haven't actually looked at the research. So the question is like, well, maybe women just get custody more because they tend to fight for it more and men don't. I would hope that people that do that research would control for that because it's obviously a very obvious, like a confounding variable. Like, well, of course, women tend to want to have the children more than men do, so of course they're going to get it more. But I think that even outside of that, and all else equal, I'm being a little anecdotal here from my personal experience with the police. I think that women tend to be seen a little bit more seriously in terms of like caregivers, and I've heard it repeated so much that there's bias against women. Or there's bias against men in family courts, but I guess that might not necessarily be true. I don't have like a research on hand, so I'm uncomfortable staking out like a hard position there. But it would surprise me, of course, favored women a little bit more than men there.
Okay. All right. The next one. Did Destiny cheat on his girl? I got another one. This is the last cheating one, I promise you. Okay.
It's a hot topic for a lot of people. Yeah.
Okay. Did Destiny cheat on his ex-girlfriend because another woman cheated on him first? Destiny, who hurt you?
No, this didn't happen. Actually, so maybe it doesn't make anybody feel better. So I can let's talk about cheating for a second in terms of like why people cheat. Okay.
Right.
Because I think it's important to understand this. Oftentimes when somebody gets cheated on, or oftentimes, when somebody experiences that, the feeling is that you are a wholly worthless person. Your partner doesn't love you. Like, it's just they're just fucking with you. It's the worst thing in the world, right? This is typically the point of view that people have. And it's why people think that like cheating is the worst thing in the world. And the most common question that you'll hear, and I even say this on stream sometimes, is like, well, why would you cheat? Why not just break up? Don't cheat on the person, just break up. Then go do what you want, right? It's so much easier, right? So the reason why is because usually I'm speaking very generally because it might be different in each scenario, right? But I think usually what happens is you never actually wholly hate a person, right? So when I cheated, like I didn't hate my partner. I still love my partner a lot. There are a lot of things that I love about my partner. But there was just like one thing that I thought I wasn't getting enough of and I was missing. And I'm not justifying it because you should break up and you should never do this to somebody. But like the thought process is like, well, if I can get this one little thing from somebody else, I can still enjoy all of the things that I like from my partner. So I think when people cheat, it's not generally like they're trying to destroy their partner or do the worst thing possible or, fuck them over or they hate them or anything. It's on the opposite. I think it's more like, I really like this partner despite the fact that I'm not getting this one thing. Maybe I can get it from somebody else and still enjoy the safety and all the other things that I like from this current partner. Generally speaking, I think that's one big reason why people cheat instead of breaking up.
Okay, cool. All right. Not the cool on the cheating, but
not cool on yeah. I mean, you shouldn't. You should break up. Well, the first thing you should have a conversation, figure out, why aren't the needs being met, and then figure out is it possible to meet these needs? And then if they can't, then you have to move on from the relationship, obviously. Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very, very rarely, almost never does like cheating work in the long term.
No.
Like somebody's gonna get caught, something's gonna fuck up, and then your life is gonna be way more complicated for it. And it doesn't benefit anybody.
Okay, here's another question. Of course, this is spontaneous. Like if a partner can't get over, like, say for instance, we'll put it on a woman this time. Okay, the woman has been found she cheated, and her boyfriend or her husband found out, and they're decided to go to couples counseling, and they decide to work it out, but he keeps bringing it up. Does that mean it's just they should just go ahead and just say forget it? It's not because he really hasn't gotten over it, and he can also use that against her in the future. There's no clean slate.
So I hate to say this, but in all areas of your life, if you are a political party that's communicating about vaccines, if you are a parent talking to your child, if you're a teammate talking to another player on a sports team, if you're a wife talking to a husband, if you lie or if you break trust, it is almost impossible to ever get that back.
Yeah, true.
Unless you had a really, really, really good reason for lying.
Yeah.
Like if you lie about where you are because you really wanted to go see your like parent that's dying of cancer, sure, maybe somebody can get over it. But if you just fuck up really bad, the problem is that the way that our minds work, and I don't even disagree with how this is, I think it's pretty valid, is that when somebody lies, you essentialize that lie. It's not that they lie and it's like, oh, Stephen told a lie. It's that they lied and you're like, oh, Stephen is a liar. And when somebody does that in your mind, it would kind of be like people ask like, okay, well, they lied once. Like, can't you just get over that? It would kind of be like, imagine if you go into the backyard and you find that your significant other is like torturing a little bunny to death.
Ugh.
And you see that and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And the partner's like, okay, hold on, whoa, okay. I did this one time, but I'll never do it again. And it's like, well, it's not so much that I saw you do it. It's now that I know you have like the capacity to do it. And that changes the way that I view you. And I feel like for cheating and stuff, I feel like it's really similar because, and man, I hate if you've made a relationship work after this, that's great. But like, I know I have personal examples in my very personal life, family life, whatever, where somebody cheats and they get over it and they, you know, they're happy together. But there's this thing where like anytime a woman is walking around and the husband's eye starts to wander, the wife's like always looking at him. It's like, hey, motherfucker, turn around. Or like, hey, like, and it could even be something as dumb as you're driving by a car and the husband turns his head and the wife is like, who are you looking at there so much? Like, you know,
True.
you trying to eye fuck somebody? What's going on, right? And that type of existence just seems really hard, yeah. But then I'll compound this now, being 33 now. I'm a bit older, okay? So I can see it from different perspectives. If you're 40 or 50 and you've been in a relationship for like 20 or 30 years, hopping back onto the dating market can be really scary. So even if I don't know if it's the best idea, I can empathize with people that would try to fix those relationships because it might seem impossible or maybe even be impossible. It might seem really difficult to just hop back and like, oh, well, I'm just going to start dating again. I'm 52, you know, I've got, you know, grandkids and I'm going to go date again. You know, that could be really challenging in and of itself. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. You have to figure out like, what is your capacity? I guess my general rule of thumb is like, if you feel like you're never going to be able to get over something, if you feel like you can never like trust this person again, like here's a question. So say your husband or wife cheats on you. Do you feel like you're ever going to be okay with them going out, like to hang out with like members of the opposite sex on their own again? Or is that never going to be the thing? If the answer is no, I'm never going to be okay with that. I would say it's probably better to just do like a
okay.
Break. Yeah, it's as sad as that sounds. But.
That's how it is, though. Okay. Let's see. We're going to go to the number 4. I'm dating a liberal guy, and along with his politics, I hate his consumption of porn. Why do men watch this stuff when they have a loving girlfriend at home? Also, should I worry about him expecting me to do those horrible things with him or to him in our bedroom in the future?
So there's 2 big parts to this. So, okay, there's a couple of big parts to this. Okay. When it comes to porn, you have to, you've got to negotiate this beforehand. You have to figure out like, what is your boundary? Are you okay with me watching it or you're not? This is a conversation that you should absolutely have before you stumble upon your partner watching, like a 42 person bukkake gang on the computer. And you're like, oh shit, like I wasn't ready for this. So I do open relationships. I'm in an open relationship now. So I can answer on the thing of for why do men watch this? Okay, this is so hard for people to understand. I'm not even going to say women because it's true for men too. This is really hard for people to understand. When you are dating somebody or when you're in a relationship with somebody, you want to feel like you are everything to that person, that you are the alpha and the omega, and that every possible thing that person could desire or want can come from you. That will never, ever be the case. It won't be the case ever. There are I have a wide taste in women. Sometimes I like women with big booties. Sometimes I like women with big or little titties. Sometimes I like women that are blonde. Sometimes I like women with brunette. You can't have one person that does all of these things. So the idea, but just because I have preferences or like those other things doesn't mean that I like my main partner any less, there are, not to be a little bit reductive, but there are plates of food that I like a lot. It doesn't mean I'm only going to eat that one meal every single day. It might be one way of doing it. Some people are going to get mad. It's like, oh, you're comparing your partner to a meal. But you can compare this to any hobby or anything that you like. You typically like to, indulge in different things. It doesn't mean that you like the main thing any less. Even though I'm saying that is impossible for some people to understand because some people engage with relationships in different ways. Some people think that your partner should be your best friend and your partner should be the person you do everything with. Other people would say, I would say that absolutely should not be the case. You should have separate lives. You should have separate hobbies. You should have separate things. You should be each other's favorite person and most important person. But I don't think you have to spend every waking moment of your life or every major hobby doing everything with the other person. I don't know if that's healthy all the time. Sometimes that can be a really suffocating feeling, or at least for me, that's a suffocating feeling.
Yeah, I agree with that one. It's especially if you have to work with them and you live with them, that's just, you don't have any me time. I think both individuals should have their own life and their own friends separate from friends that they have together so that they can do their own thing. And also, there's also times to be alone. I know I like my alone time sometimes, so that's important as well. So,
in terms of should you expect it to start popping up? I mean, I mean, this is going to depend on the person, you know. I'll say anecdotally, it's kind of funny because like when I'm talking to people, I'll say like a lot of stuff that I think is like would be fun to do or fun to try, and are just ideas that I have about things. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm ever going to do those things in particular. So like, for instance, when I'm chatting with somebody or like sexting with people, right, I might say some like a lot of crazy shit, but then when we actually end up hooking up or meeting up, like I'm not really going as far as I've like kind of talked about or fantasized about. Sometimes fantasies remain fantasies because they're just fun things to think about. You wouldn't necessarily want to try them in real life. However, that depends on the person. There are definitely going to be people that are exploring things, you know, via pornography that are eventually going to want to branch out and try these things, you know, in the real world. So it just depends. That's going to depend a lot on the person.
Okay. All right. So let's go to number 5. Destiny, is this you? And there's a link to this article. I'll leave the link in the description box below this video. It's pretty good, actually. I know you love your fiance. I watched you two on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, but is it possible you're marrying her to live longer as well? And the article, the article is talking about, did you want to read a little bit of the article, or did you just wanted to give us a summary of the article stating that men who tend to get married tend to live healthier lives or tend to be healthier?
Yeah, I mean, there were basically a bunch of, it was tracking, I think it was even like cancer and I think heart disease.
Yeah,
saying that, like,
yeah.
men had better outcomes over time. I've heard a lot of things like that. I've heard a lot in regards to like even maintaining friendships too, that like if you have a lot of healthy friendships, that could increase longevity as well. But no, I don't think humans tend to think, or I don't think this way. I don't think I could do a relationship with somebody just because I'm trying to be healthier. I don't think I could last in a relationship like that. Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, let's pretend that you were massively deplatformed, similar to Nick Fuentes, which includes ban from all banks, merchants, and payment centers, along with being on a no-fly list. All of your money you have made over the years, including your stock options, are frozen for the next 10 years. Would you let women take care of you, or would you get a job? If neither, explain.
I mean, I think is the assumption here. Well, this is going to depend a lot on house dynamics. I'll try to get at the spirit of the question.
Okay.
But like, let's say, for instance, let's say my wife is making like $1 million a year, and we're still financially fine. I'm not going to go get a job at McDonald's while she's like, it just doesn't make any sense. I'll probably take care of the house or help her with her job because that's going to be like a greater investment of my time or payoff for my time. But let's getting more at the spirit of the question. Let's say it's like she couldn't maintain the household on her own or something. Then it comes down to basically figuring out like what is each partner's job in a relationship. You know, sometimes in relationships, one person takes care of the house and they do all of that, and that enables the other partner to work. So commonly you see like men, you know, go at work, women take care of the house.
Yes.
Other times in relationships, you've got like a kind of a dual earner thing. You know, if I could go out and get a normal job because we need to maintain our, you know, not necessarily maintain lifestyle, we'd probably scale back if I wasn't working. But if we absolutely needed me to get a job, yeah, I would get a job. I've always been like a worker person. Like I work as much as I need to get whatever I have to get done. That's just the kind of person I am. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get at if I had to get a job, I would. But if my significant other was making a ton of money, I mean, I'd let them work and I would just take care of the house or figure out what they would want me to do, basically. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. In your opinion and experience, list the things that both a liberal man and a conservative man, hold on a second, have in common that will benefit women. Did you understand this question? I'm sorry. I should have, now that I'm reading it, I should have asked her to be more specific, but what do you think about this question? I'm a little lost on this one here.
What do a liberal man and a conservative man have in common that can help women? I mean, like, or that will benefit women.
Yeah, that will benefit women.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that question either. Oh God, I remember reading this. I feel like I had an answer before. I should have wrote it down. I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it depends. I mean, if we're getting at like big. The thing is, the way this question is phrased is I don't know if they're trying to get at something where it's like conservative men are like manly men that take care of the house and like liberals are like these pussies that don't do anything or something. If that's like, and then they're trying to find out, well, what's the benefit of that? I can't tell if like that's the implication. So if so, like what I would say would be probably a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Whoever asked that, I'm so sorry. Well, maybe the next time, uh, I'll get you to get more specific and I'll ask again. All right. So number 8. Now I like this question actually. If you had a daughter, what are the things you would tell her to protect her from harm at the following ages? Age 10, age 15, age 18, 21, and finally 25. So let's start at the age of 10. What are the things you would tell your 10-year-old daughter to protect her from harm?
I mean, at 10, I think you're generally worried about like stranger danger. Like, be careful about like adults trying to kidnap
Yeah.
you and basically trusting people too much, adults or whatever too much if you don't know who they are. I think it'd be like basic safety stuff like that, basically at 10.
Yeah.
At 15, you start to get into puberty stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is about. This might only be like a white middle class phenomenon, or I don't know if your household was different, but boomer parents had a lot of trouble talking to their children about sex and pregnancy and stuff related to it. Lots of stories of women having their first periods.
Yeah, my
and
parents, I didn't learn, I had to learn from my cousins. But
Yeah.
yeah, they didn't tell me, my parents didn't tell me.
Yeah, and sometimes you get really bad information from other younger people about, or that if you have sex in a hot tub, you can't get pregnant. If the woman's on top, you can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Just like really, really, really dumb things that you'll hear from people.
Right.
The most important thing for me, I have a 10-year-old son right now, is I hope that if my child ever has a question, they always feel okay asking me that question. So I think it's important to be able to have frank, non-judgmental conversations with your children about things. And I think it's really important. I don't know what happens in so many people's brains. You have to remember what it's like to be a kid. Nothing is more cringy to me than people turn like 30 or 35 and they totally forget everything from their childhood, or they are just stupid. And they'll be saying things like, oh, you're 15, you can't be seeing any boys, you can't be kissing anybody, you can't be having these things. Like, it's a fucking teenager. Are you serious? Like, teenagers have been fucking since the dawn of mankind. It's how we are even here today. And parents pretending that like, oh, my sweet little girl, she has no interest in that. She'd never, like, no, of course she does. You're absolutely delusional. I'm sorry. But you are absolutely delusional. So, like have frank conversations like, hey, listen, I prefer if you didn't, but if you are, like these are the safety measures that you need to be aware of. Watch out for STDs. You need to wear condoms so you don't get pregnant. And the most important thing is if your child ever has questions, they should always feel like they can go to you for answers. That is so fucking important. That thing that I said earlier, this might be a recurring thing, okay?
Okay.
Trust is lost so easily and is so difficult to regain that like one negative experience with your parent in relation to like a conversation about sex might make that kid never, ever, ever want to talk to you again. So, like if you like parents will do the thing where they, they catch their child, watching porn and they like scream at them and like, this is horrible. This is more. It's like, come on, it's no way, dude. The internet, they're going to be watching porn.
Yeah.
Like, you have to figure that out. Right. Or you have to be able to have a frank conversation without making the child feel like they've done something wrong or disgusting or, a lot of parents are, and I understand, I guess, because they're uncomfortable with it. Like a lot of parents are uncomfortable having conversations about their kids' sexuality. Like if you've had a child, like 6 months old, your little boy will be reaching down, playing with his dingling, right? Or when they turn 8 or 9 or 10, like they're having these interactions with their body. You have to be able to have a conversation with them about it.
Yeah.
Because, and this is the most important thing, they are going to learn and they are going to talk about it. The question is it going to be with you or is it going to be with like the random kid at recess? Or is it going to be with some person that they find online?
Yeah.
Because the conversations are going to happen. So like, yeah, be able to have those conversations with your child. So in terms of like daughter, like 15 and 18, I think these ages are pretty similar. Like, hey, you know what? Like if you're going to have sex, these are the ways that you keep yourself safe. If you have questions about it, let me know. Don't let anybody pressure you into doing things, that you don't want to do ever. You never have to do that. And if you have questions, talk to mom or talk to dad. We've all been there. Obviously, we have a fucking kid, so we know what it's like.
You got two more, 21 and 25. 21 is important because remember, that's legal drinking age. That's also where they can, in most states, purchase a firearm.
Well, yeah. I think most states you can buy a lot of states will limit handguns to 21 because for some reason the Second Amendment doesn't protect handguns, I guess. But you can get rifles at like 16 or sometimes at no age.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I know what you mean. At 21, I mean, they've already been drinking, probably.
Really?
Yeah, 21, probably. They've already drunk a little bit. But at 21, they'll do the thing where, and again, you just have to be aware of it. And it's cringy, but at 21, everybody's personality is, oh my God, I can drink. Let's go drink. Everybody does it. It's cringe as fuck. Just tell your kid, hey, be safe. Don't overdo it on your first
And
legal
don't
night.
drive also.
Yeah, and
know?
Holy fuck, don't drive. Oh my God, don't drink and drive. There's Uber, call mom and dad, whatever. If you have, man, I used to be able to say this. I don't know anymore, but I would hope so. This is like another thing that I say, like, if you are ever in a situation where you are in trouble or whatever, your parents should be willing to drop everything to go and help you. If you are too drunk, if you took a drug and you don't know what it is, if you feel like you can't get home, if you're in an unsafe place, there is never, ever, ever, ever going to be a time ever where a parent has to identify like the body of their child and they're thinking, well, at least he didn't call me and, ruin my night first. Right? Your parent will always want to do something. And there's an instinct there. I would hope, I'm speaking personally from what I've seen, but maybe some people aren't like this. Like, if my child's in danger, like, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I don't care what's going on. Like, let's remove you from that situation and we can talk about it later. But that is the discussion about it later is so much less important than just making sure you're safe. Most parents should have a similar feeling about that.
Okay. All right. This is my favorite right here.
Uh-oh.
Without getting profane or explicit, tell women how they can improve and perfect their BJ skills.
Okay, this is true for all of sex, okay? There's two parts to everything having to do with sex, okay? So number one, okay, there's three parts. Number one is practice, okay? Nobody's like perfect at something the first time they do it. So you have to practice things. You got to do them over and over again, okay?
Okay.
I'm actually going to say there's only two things. There's not three things. There's two things. And I'll say what the third one isn't because everybody brings it up and it's not true. Okay. The second thing, and this is really, 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 really important. And this doesn't just apply to sex. This applies to like everything in life. Okay. You have to be receptive to what your partner is saying and feeling. If your partner is, if people, I'm trying not to get too explicit. Like if somebody likes something, their body's probably going to move in a certain way. If they don't like something, their body's probably going to be moving in a certain way. And sometimes it's good, as lame as it can feel sometimes, to just ask. Like, hey, does this feel good? Or, hey, how is this feeling? Are you doing okay with this? How do you like that? Like, I'll do that. When I have like a new partner for the first time, I'll start asking questions sometimes, not in an obnoxious way, but more like in a
checking in, right?
Yeah. Because, and this is not to call anybody out, but sometimes I'll hear people say like, oh, you can tell everything by just how a person moves. Bullshit.
No, not if you never met them or had relations with them before.
Exactly.
Don't know.
And the reason why is because pleasure and pain sound very, very, very similar.
True.
If you're messing with somebody, and you get like, is that like, are you okay? Or did I just hurt you really badly? It can be really hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah.
And oftentimes because of how high like the emotions are and people's egos and shit, people won't always speak up and say like, hey, that doesn't feel good. Some people are really uncomfortable with that. Yeah. Yeah, so like being communicative, you have to talk to them. You've got to be empathetic to their body reactions, and then you have to practice. I hear one a lot, and I am convinced that sometimes a lot of sex advice online is like by virgins for virgins, because it feels like there's no way that a person with any experience say this. I hear people say enthusiasm a lot. Enthusiasm can be nice, like obviously that you're into it, but I have had a lot of enthusiastic, horrible sex. Women that give very toothy blowjobs and they're like grinding your fucking dick like they're, like a beaver, like just like eating this shit, not in a good way. Or I've had women that are way too excited to be on top that it feels like my dick is about to snap off because it come down wrong a couple times. It's like, okay, you can only do that one time before you don't get to be on top anymore. Now I'm going to take over because I'm not going to be that guy in the fucking video that gets his, dick broken off. Enthusiasm is nice, but it's like it's a far, far, far distant third. And it's honestly not that important. Not to take the romance out of it, but sometimes there are times with a partner where like, especially if you've been in a relationship for a lot of years, you don't really like to have sex, or not you don't like to have sex, but you're not like necessarily 100% in the mood, but they're like really horny or whatever. And you can get that person off, like I have like exes that I've dated for many years, they might not be like 100% in the mood for it or whatever, because, you know, either one of us is tired or whatever, but holy fuck, they know my body well and they're really good at what they do. Like their lack of enthusiasm didn't make it feel not good. They still knew exactly what they had to do. And they, you know, so not to say that you should be out there like trying to find like unenthusiastic partners to take advantage of them or whatever, but I'm just saying that like enthusiasm alone doesn't really do much all the time, you know?
Okay, good answer. All right. Okay, and the last one for the women is number 10. I am very affectionate. I am a very affectionate woman who loves to cuddle, hug, and show PDA. My boyfriend, on the other hand, does not. However, he will return the affection after I initiate it, but I always initiate it. This is the only thing I don't like about him, and no, it's not a deal breaker. But how do I get him to be more physically affectionate?
Oh shit. Are you getting questions from my fiance or? No. Okay. So, I am physically
Wait a minute,
affectionate.
is this you? Do you do that? You
So-
look like a very PDA type of guy.
I am very physically affectionate.
Oh,
but I
okay.
can have, when it comes to sex, I can do this. So
Okay.
I always enjoy sex with my partner. I always enjoy sex with my partner. But I can also like, when I'm in work mode, I can go like a month without even thinking about it because I'm spending 10 hours a day streaming. I'm doing an hour emails beforehand. I'm doing an hour afterwards. And then I'm gymming. And it'll never come up. But, you know, if she initiates something or we start doing something, like, oh, I'm always having fun. I always enjoy it. I always like it. So I can give advice on both ends of this because
Okay.
So one, if you're the guy, and I don't do this enough and I'm trying to work on it, right? But you have to make a conscious effort to initiate, even if you enjoy it. Because and I used to fall into this trap because my significant other would say like, hey, it doesn't feel good when I'm always initiating. And I would go, well, who cares? Like I enjoy it every time. It's not like I don't like it. Like, why do you care about this? But the problem is that on the other end, if one person always has to initiate, one, if they ever get rejected, which they will, it'll happen. That feels really, really, really bad. And it makes them scared to initiate in the future. And two, if you're always the one that has to initiate, even if your partner says they do enjoy it, that's still just going to feel kind of bad. It's going to feel like, the other person just isn't as interested, even if they say that they are. So on the one end, I guess on the girl's end, like know that it doesn't mean that your partner doesn't like you, or it doesn't mean that they hate you or anything, or that they're not into it, because you said it yourself. Like it seems like they are. Once you initiate, it's fine. But then on the partner end, I think it's okay to ask them like, hey, like whether you have to fucking Google Calendar schedule this or what, like can you build this in your schedule more? Can you like try to do this a little bit? Because it's important for my my self-esteem and well-being that like you initiate at some point. You know, I think that's fine.
So she should go ahead and tell him that it's because of, you know, she needs it for her self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, which is totally fine and totally normal, right?
Yeah, it
Nobody
is
wants
absolutely
to,
right. Okay. So now let's move on to the questions from men, and we're going to go to number 1. How do I heal from a breakup, and how long does the pain usually last?
When it comes to, okay, I'm going to give you the responsible answer, and I'll give you a more real answer. So the real answer is, it's a time thing. There is no shortcutting that. Time blunts all pain and happiness. Humans will acclimate to new things. People that are crippled or quadriplegic will eventually become okay with it. It just over time you settle out. And when you're coming off of a relationship, there is no shortcut to that. Kind of. There's no healthy shortcut to that. It's just going to be like the first week is going to suck. The first month is going to be pretty shitty. And then after a couple months, like, okay, like we're back living again.
So the time usually varies?
I mean, it's going to depend on the length of the relationship and the type of person you are.
That's good point. Good point. Okay.
The cheaty answer is rebounds help a lot. If you are, this is why like people sometimes will get out of a relationship, get into a new one very, very, very quickly. It's because bouncing to another person.
But do those relationships even last? The rebound relationships. I've seen rebound relationships just crash and burn.
Yeah. Probably most people do. That'd be it's not help. That's why I said it was a cheating. That's why I said there was one real answer. There's one kind of like, yeah. But I mean, that's why people will jump into a new relationship really quickly because it's the easiest way to get over an older one. Like that's That's a way to do it. Yeah. But it's probably not.
What about those type of people? And I'm sure you've seen this before, where they're in a long relationship, they in a relationship with someone for like 3 or 4 years. All of a sudden they break up and they get married the following year.
To the same person?
No, to a different person. They break up. They break up. Sorry, I missed the breakup part. They're in a relationship. They break up and then they get married to someone totally different. They could be in a relationship with someone for like 4 years and then they break up and then 6 months to 8 months later they marry somebody else. I've seen this happen to 2 of my friends actually.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. I just had a girl that I knew that started dating somebody and they're engaged in like 6 months. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's different. I struggle sometimes to give like guidelines on this. I feel like I have to live with I would have to live with somebody.
Me too. Yeah.
For at least a year to know if that's like a possibility.
Right.
People, yeah. I don't know how the old like religious stuff, not to bash on anybody's religion or whatever, but like people that say that like you should, like not even have sex or whatever before marriage. Like, in my opinion, some people get mad. I might have given this take to you even before. Some people get mad when it says like, you're not dating until you live together. You're
True.
friends.
You did it. You did.
Then.
Yeah, we did it when we did our first collab. Yeah, you're right. I totally agree with that one. Absolutely.
Yeah. So people get married really quick. I don't know. There are like, I've heard this. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that there's 2 big times when long relationships fail. It's like at the 3-year mark and at the 7-year mark or something.
7 years.
Yeah.
Of dating?
Yeah, well, of whether you're married or not. But like
okay.
The 3-year and the 7-year are like when things like run into them. I don't know if it's backed up by data. Some 2 streamer people got divorced or broke up basically after being together for 6 or 7 years. And then I started reading those comments a lot. So maybe people were just ad hocking. I don't know. But yeah, I think being together for at least a year is probably important. But I mean, I guess it depends on the person. If you found the love of your life, like fuck it, just be careful with your money.
Yeah. Very true. Okay, number 2, meeting girls online is not working. Any suggestions for men in our early 20s who can meet decent women offline?
I have no idea. That's a really hard one, especially because my whole life is online.
Yeah.
It seems like your 2 best ways to meet women are through work and school offline. So if you are...
work and school. That's a good point. Yeah.
But if you are, I mean, if you're like an engineer, if you work like in a male-dominated field, you're pretty fucked then, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really hard one. I wish I had a better answer for you. I don't go clubbing. I don't go to bars. I don't do anything. It used to be that the most common way is you meet people through friends of friends, but it seems like that's becoming more and more rare for people to meet through friends of friends. So I don't have a good answer for that one. If I did,
have you been to an in-person speed dating?
Never seriously before. No.
Okay. All right. I haven't either. So I was going to suggest that if you've done it, but if you haven't, then we can't speak from experience. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next one. Destiny, in your opinion, can a tradcon man convert a modern woman to live a traditional life? I'm going to say no, but I'm going to see what he's going to say. I had to jump in there. I'm like, I just don't see it.
So it depends on what you mean by tradcon woman. So I am very much not a socialist or any of that cringy shit. But I meet on dating apps, especially when I was in California, like every motherfucker is like, oh, I'm a socialist, I'm an anarcho-communist, blah, blah, whatever. They have all these things or whatever. I think people will say this shit because it's trendy, but they don't actually feel that strongly in it. Like I'll meet a couple girls that'll say shit like this, and every time I'm like, oh, hey, we should talk about this. I'm just curious. They're like, oh, I just like this thing, and I'm like, oh, well, what about this? I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds good too. Sometimes people aren't like very strongly attached to like those types of things.
You think so?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
But I've known people that have those lifestyles that are very strongly attached to those types of things. And for the more strongly attached people, probably not. But if 2 people, this is something that I say when it comes to people trying to figure out like, oh, does she like me? Does she not like me? Blah, blah, blah. Or, are they trying to, ghost me or whatever? If 2 people really like each other, they will find ways to get around.
True. Yeah.
I say this a lot when it comes to like flirting, and people are like, oh, I can't tell if she likes me. It's like, if you can't tell, she doesn't. because if they like you, the people are going to make an effort to talk to you, to be with you, to hang out with you, to accommodate you. Like people will make those efforts. Like I met a lot of people. This is the most bullshit phrase in the world. Women do this a lot. I'm not looking at dating anymore right now. Bullshit. As soon as you meet the right person, you start dating them fucking instantly. Every fucking woman I've ever met that's always said that, we're dating someone in 2 or 3 fucking weeks.
True.
Every time, without fail. 100%. That is the very rare 100%. I'm not looking at dating right now. Bullshit. You're just waiting for the right person to come along, but you either don't realize it or you're lying about it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you probably could get some people. It would just depend like on how committed they are to that lifestyle. If you've got somebody that is like volunteering at their local, like, anarcho commune, with the vegan save the pigs or whatever, probably not this person. But if you've got somebody who just has some like, cringy tags on their Twitter or Facebook profile, they probably don't care about it that much. And if you guys really like each other, it's not going to be a deal breaker for anybody.
All right. Okay. Next one. Hold on a second. Let me get this. Okay. Here we go. Number 4. Do you believe in the term high value man or a high value woman? If not, why? If so, what is your personal definition of high value?
So, do you know who Kevin Samuels is?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that there are ways that we can try to quantify people's value when it comes to dating. And I think roughly these can be pretty accurate, but I would caution people because it's not 100% all the time a certain way. And 2, there are different types of relationships or values that people sometimes sometimes they discount.
Yeah.
Or some people like these things, some people don't. I'm a very big fan of being understanding of the world as it is, but sometimes people will do that and they take it to heart too much, or they like they'll get a lot of like self-esteem issues as a result of this. When I think of like high value, what I'm thinking of is like every person that I interact with is trying to get something. Everybody wants something in life. People, unless you're depressed and you're in bed all day, right? Everybody wants something. And when I'm interacting with somebody, my goal is like, do I feel like they're getting something from me that's valuable, that only I can offer, or only I can offer at a really high level? So with my fiance, I hope that the time that we spend together is really special, that I make her happy, that, we sex well, we, travel and do things that are fun together. I hope that I'm providing that type of value to her. And I hope it's unique enough that she's not going to want to find it somewhere else, right?
Right.
And that's typically how I try to approach things. Now, on a very broad level, I think more what the question is getting at, like, there are things in general that society expects of men, and there are things in general that society expects of women. From the man's side, it's namely career, money, stability. And from the woman's side, it's namely youth and looks. It tends to be how it goes. So if we're looking from a societal level of high value, if you have a lot of money, if you're relatively stable in your career, then I guess, yeah, you're a high value man. Or from a woman, if you're young or if you look really good, then you're a high value woman. I believe that those are like dynamics at play in dating markets. I think everybody, if they're honest with themselves, you have to acknowledge that that's true. But there are so many other facets to relationships that it behooves you to investigate these more rather than to be obsessed over these like, 1 or 2 qualities. Yeah.
Yeah. I always talk about like people who always say, oh, I'm a high value man or I'm a high value woman. A high value person don't have to tell you that they're high value.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't stand it. It's so cringy. It's just like these guys who are like, I'm alpha. Well, if you're really alpha, you don't have to tell people you're alpha. It should be obvious that you're alpha. To me, it seems like these labels, people are making it more complicated than usual. And I think if you just know what you want in a man and in a woman, and also what you can bring to the table. It's like I never know people to get all caught up in this high value situation. I know some very actually they're down there in your area, a couple of them in Boca Raton and Miami and Fort Myers. Some women who are quote unquote high value, but they're but the reason I would put them in that category is because they live a very luxurious life. They don't wear pants. They don't wear. They're very elegant in their dress and who they associate with and what they say and how they carry themselves. You know what I'm saying? And the way when being around them, I realized like, woo, I like my sweatpants. I like to wear my hats. I mean, I don't want to live that life where I'm constantly dressing perfectly every day and sitting perfectly and eating perfectly. It's just, I just, that would just drive me crazy. So I never, when I think of high value, I think of that level. And when I see people talking about some high value man, high value woman, I'm like, that's not for everybody, you know?
Yeah, and I would also caution, like, especially now that I've been in this industry, this is so much more true than I ever realized before. Oh my God. I feel like this is actually so strange. I'll talk to myself again, I guess, when I'm 40, but like, there's a lot of things that I learned as a kid that I grew up and realized more that they're kind of bullshit. And then as I get older, I'm like, wow, actually, that was so much more true than I ever knew. And I'm going through these experiences a lot. You would be, not you, I'm saying you generally, or maybe you even, but people would be shocked at how fucking miserable like so many beautiful rich people are.
Yes! Oh my God!
Yeah, it's actually really crazy.
Yes!
I know so many guys that are unbelievably hot or women that are unbelievably attractive that hate the way they look. These people aren't fucking. Like, I'll say this right now. The best sex I've ever had in my life, 9 out of 10 times, comes from the most unassuming looking people. I have fucked so many chicks that are so fucking beautiful that are so boring in bed. And they're not even like a lot of times they don't masturbate, they don't know how to come, they don't care, blah, blah, blah. And then there are like women that are like pretty like unassuming. You would look at this, oh, there's like a normal like 6 out of 10, whatever kind of woman, but they're really enthusiastic, they're really into it, they really love it, they enjoy sex, they love it. Like, and I know so many people, so many guys, so many girls that are so beautiful and so pretty, and they're like, anytime they're out, they're on Facetune, like fucking with their Instagram pictures. They're trying to like edit everything. They're trying to get so much makeup on. It's like surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery. Like, holy shit! Like, yeah. And I'll see girls like, and I'm never naming names here, but like there are girls that, like me and my fiance know, and we'll look at these people. I was like, oh my God, you were like a 9 or 10 out of 10. You are so beautiful. And you're getting fake boobs and you're like fucking with your face so many times. And it's like, bro, if you're not happy with how you look now, you are never going to be happy with how you look.
True. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would be, I don't know if how that Kevin Samuel guys is personally. I just don't know him. I'm not calling him out, but like for a lot of these people that exist in these like high value fields,
right,
alpha beta fields, like a lot of them are fucking miserable, you know? I'll apply the same critique there that I do. Like, I thought it was really funny when it comes to left-leaning people on Twitter and shit, you know, like you've got 52 different mental illnesses in your profile and you talk about being suicidal all the time and you're going to tell me how to live a good life. You know, like, but like, and I'll make fun of left-leaning people, but I'll make fun of right-leaning people or people that are obsessed with that, like high value shit the same way. Like, you're like, oh, this is how you live your life and be happy. It's like, bro, you're fucking miserable. Who the fuck should take advice from you? What the fuck? You hate yourself, you know?
No. On the right is these men who are obese. They never go outside. They live in their mom's basement, but they're going to talk about, I need a woman. She needs to stay at home. She need to cook. She need to have my babies. She don't need to vote. I don't want her to do nothing but just be home and be the traditional. And I'm like, you guys are delusional. Nobody wants you. That's the reason why that's why you still, you know, crying in your mom's basement talking about, you know, these women, we need to take back I think it's the 19th Amendment. We now revoke the 19th Amendment.
Yeah. People are crazy sometimes.
Oh God. Okay. All right, here we go. And all right, number 5. Number 5. Oh, this is a doozy. Since you had sex with Anna multiple times, is it true that crazy women are awesome in bed?
That's like a funny meme that a lot of people post. I'm gonna give you I'll give you the Christian answer to this.
Oh, what?
The best sexual experiences I've ever had in my life are with the partners that I've had the most time with. There is no shortcut to that. I've been with people that are really, really amazing sexually, and I can tell they are, and I know they are. But like the getting to know somebody's body, how it works, and then spending a lot of time with them, those will always be the best sexual encounters. Like, and even for me, like, because people will make fun of like, oh, I stick around a lot and stuff. Like even for me, like I don't really enjoy like one night stands. It's usually not that good. Building on sexual relationships over long periods of time are always way more, even just sexually fulfilling, than like fucking somebody one time and then never seeing them again. It's just, you just don't know a person's body well enough. So yeah, the whole meme of like, oh, crazy girls are so good in bed, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that's necessarily true. Unless you've been like with a lot of people that are just really boring and then you meet a crazy person and maybe that's exciting for you. But yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Okay. All right. I met a woman with a child from a previous relationship, and she's the best girlfriend I ever had. I'm sure you have heard dudes preach, never date a single mama. But after 9 months, I can't see no one in my life but her. Am I delusional? Please give me your advice.
Dating a single mom is going to come with its own set of challenges, but like that thing of like never date a single mom, I think is rooted in kind of a lot of weird thought. It depends on really where you're coming from there. Like if you don't want to date a single mom, like oftentimes the reason might stem down to like dealing with a child can be very confusing and difficult when it's somebody else's child. Because that's just true. There's a lot of added complications that come in there. But people get really weird about like, oh, I don't want to be like a cock and taking care of someone else. But if that's the reason, like I would suggest like rethinking how you view the world. I think that's a little bit cringy. Yeah, I mean, it can
I
be
do
done.
too. I think it's cringy as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do it. It can be done. It's just, there's just going to be some added challenges along the way to figuring it out. Yeah.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal would not be who he is now, if it wasn't for his stepdad, who actually came in his mom's life when he was, I think he was 4 years old, and his stepdad started to raise him and actually adopted him later on in life, and has been the best influence on him. So I do believe if you are a man who is good at being a father, and you can actually, especially if the biological father don't want to have anything to do with that child, that's something that I don't see a problem with. Now, of course, I'm gonna flip it on the other side. I don't think I don't like baby mama drama. I don't think anybody should get in a relationship where the child, whether you're dating a man, let me know what you think about this situation, Stephen, where you are dating a man and he has a crazy baby mama, and that who uses the child to manipulate you and to manipulate your partner, and vice versa, where the father is constantly causing problems and like, I'm your daddy, not that word that they will ever use over there. So I think if everybody involved, the biological parents, if they are mature, but specifically if they don't have anything to do with the child, like in Shaquille O'Neal situation, that's perfect. But if they're filled with drama, if they're filled with craziness, if they want to just make the other person unhappy, I don't think those are the relationships worth it, regardless of the child or not.
Yeah, I think that I agree 100% with that, with anything you said there. Like that is true, but I don't think that necessarily has to do with the child. That just has to do with like crazy relationships.
True. Yeah.
Even if they didn't have a child, there can be crazy exes sometimes where it's like, oh, okay, this isn't, something's not working here. Like, yeah, I would always be wary of stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Number 7, under what condition should a man get a prenup, and under what condition should a man not worry about a prenup? Oh, can I go first on this one?
It's your show. You do it.
Yeah, that's right. I can.
I don't have to
Well, you're the guest. You're the guest. Okay. So I have to be, respectful of the guest. All right. And I'm speaking from traditional relationships. If you two are young and you got married young, I don't see the purpose of a prenup. So let's say, for instance, you two were high school sweethearts, and you decided to go after graduating, you decided to go ahead and get married, and she has some kids while you go to work, I don't see the purpose of a prenup for that one, because you both are starting off, with nothing, and you both agreed to raise a family. And of course, I teach everybody here that marriage, divorce is not an option for traditional, in my method of traditional conservatism. Now, as you get older, especially with women who now have businesses and have other things to lose, I am very, very pro prenup. When it comes to, as you get older and you have assets like houses and businesses, I'm all for it. So it protects both of us, and I make sure I get a good lawyer. He gets a good lawyer. I believe, and then I know some people are saying, well, Tree, you're saying like once you get married, there's no divorce. That's fine. Yes, I do believe that. However, you never know. And I have no intentions. However, I just, something happens to me, I need to make sure that everything in my will is followed to the letter. And I just want to I believe that we can protect each other if we both are coming with money and asset. So that's just my opinion. That's just my beliefs. You know what I'm saying? I just believe that the two contracts will make sure that there's no misunderstanding. What say you, Stephen?
This is going to be an incredibly personal thing. So I'll give two broad things of advice. Generally, when it comes to marriages, the assets that you bring into a marriage are usually always respected regardless. So for instance, if I go into a marriage and someone else goes into a marriage, we both have $1 million, those don't become commingled assets.
Right.
It's only once you become married and then you start earning, then everything earned is considered like jointly earned, basically.
Right.
So major purchases and income earned.
Right.
So the only piece of advice I'll give is that figure out what your goals are for the future financially and how you feel about things. And then this is the second piece of advice I always give to everybody when it comes to business. It sounds very unromantic, but I always go into every partnership thinking like, if a person wanted to fuck me the hardest, what could they possibly do? And from there, I think is where you should figure out like, how do you negotiate positions? I think that it's a very big red flag if you're having a conversation with somebody about something like this and they balk at the idea of like, oh no, I would never do that. Like, oh, you don't trust me? It reminds me a lot of like, so because I'm, sexually active with people and everything, STD testing is pretty important to me. I get tested. I try to before and after every new partner, and I make sure the other person as well. If I'm having a conversation, someone's like, oh, like when was your last test or whatever? Have you been tested recently, whatever? If they get upset or offended if I ask a question like that, that's a red flag for me.
Big red flag.
And I would say the same thing about like, prenuptial agreement stuff too. Like you should be like a reasonable conversation, especially depending on your circumstance coming in. My big thing is that like, if I die and something happens to me, I love my fiance to death. We're actually probably be married in a week, but I want the majority of my money going to my kid. Absolutely. Like I love her. She's great. But like my son is like number one first. So like that's something that's really important to me. But I have enough money saved up that if it goes to him, I'm happy about that. And so I don't know if I need I don't think I need a prenuptial agreement right now because that money's already protected and I already have that like written in. But like, let's say that I only had like $20,000 in the bank and we were getting married. I might sign like a prenuptial agreement, and these will vary from lawyer to lawyer stating like, I want this many of my assets going to my kid. I don't care if I'm married, blah, blah, blah. And then you get that all checked out and everything. Yeah. So it's going to be super unique to your particular situation.
Yes. Good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is depends upon your situation. Okay. All right. Next question. My friends are angry that I am spending a lot of time with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend gets angry when I spend too much time with my friends. How do I handle this?
Figure out what you want to do. Fuck it. What do you mean? If you want to spend more time with your friends, spend more time with your friends. If you only want to spend time with your girlfriend, spend time with your girlfriend. Everybody has those people in their lives that disappear every time they get into a new relationship. Especially girls will have this, where they'll have that friend in the girl group who'll be like, oh, Stacy, she's got a boyfriend again. We'll see her in 6 months, because like people disappear completely in relationships. I personally think that's really fucking cringy and really lame. But hey, if that's something that you enjoy, then fucking go for it. Do what you want. Figure out what makes you happy,
Okay. The next one, I'm afraid of rejection, and this prevents me from approaching women on and offline. I also have a problem of fucking up with when women approach and talk to me. I'm either too quiet or when I do talk, I say something stupid. Destiny, how did you get so comfortable around women, and would that work for me?
Our comfort level around other people and our confidence and all of that, I feel like that's shaped very early on in life. So I can't tell you if you're like 25, like, oh, just do this and this and this. Because the way that I view life was probably formed when I was like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years old, right? So I don't know. That's probably, the ship has sailed on that one. In terms of like what you can do, I think that getting rejected is really, really good, because it gives you an experience that is nowhere near as bad as you think it is. Like some of my proudest experiences in life were asking out college girls and getting rejected, because like this is, I will say this, not knowing is always worse than just getting an answer. Okay. Because like when you're getting rejected, you haven't started dating the person yet. So you're not going to be sad about like losing a relationship. And if you ask them out and they say no, and they're like, oh, okay, well, at least I can mentally move on from this person. And then once they say no and it happens, it's like a roller coaster drop. Like once it's over, you're like, oh, that was nowhere near as bad or as scary as I thought it was. Like it happens, and you just move on. Now, obviously, this can get more complicated if you're like asking out like somebody in a friend group, and it gets really complicated. Like there might be other that's going to vary from group to group. But like, yeah, I would say just getting used to talking to people and then asking people out and then getting rejected. That's probably the best way to get over getting rejected. But if you're like paralyzed from that fear at the beginning, I'll just say it's nowhere near as bad as you think it is. And like I still get rejected today sometimes. So I mean, like it's a good experience to have. Like you get rejected, you move on. It's fine.
What about men who don't know how to take rejection? Like they don't know that no means no. Like a woman will
You
say,
are ruining it for everybody, and you need to shut the fuck up and move the fuck on, okay? If you're ever mad at a woman that ghosts you, the reason why a woman is ghosting you is because the last guy that she said no to started camping out her
yes,
front lawn, okay? Damn, dude. Remember what I said earlier. If somebody likes you, you're not gonna have to play a fucking guessing game, okay?
Nope.
Women and men are like fucking dogs when it comes to liking somebody. You open the door, they're happy to see you, they're trying to spend time with you, they want to do shit. Men and women are not like cats, where it's like, does my cat love me? I don't know. He's standing in the corner of the room all the time looking at me, and he kind of looks like he'd eat my eyeballs if I was dead tomorrow. But people are like dogs. If they like you, you're gonna know it almost immediately. It'll be painfully obvious.
yes.
So if a woman is like giving you signals, or a woman is like not that interested, it's like, okay, cool, and move on. Okay, it's too many times. I don't know if it's like an entitlement to a woman's time or body, or I don't know what the fuck it is, but oftentimes men hear no as like an invitation to have an argument or
Oh my
it's
God,
not.
yes.
Don't just, it's not just no, just move the fuck on, because you're ruining it for everybody. You're ruining it for everybody. You're ruining it for women because now they're afraid to even talk to guys because they don't know, because every new guy you talk to might be a new permanent fucking stalker that can never take a hint. And then for guys talking to women, now it's harder to talk to women. And if they don't like you, they're never going to say no because they're too scared to do it. So they're going to string you along.
Right.
Just, you fuck it up for everybody when you act like that as a guy. Don't fucking do that. Don't be that fucking person.
Okay. All right. And the last question before we go to the lightning round. My girlfriend friends are a bunch of thoughts who brag about cheating on their boyfriends. They are a bad influence on my girlfriend, and I hate when she hangs out with them. What can I do to get my girlfriend to make better friends or meet better people to hang out with?
Yeah, you're not going to control that. So I made a joke about this earlier. I hear some things as a kid. I grow up, I realize they're dumb. Then I get a little bit older, and I'm like, oh shit, this was totally true. There are two phrases that my mom used to always say to me, okay?
What's that?
My mom is a Republican, religious, older person. So obviously she's clueless. She doesn't know anything. I'm 17. I know everything, okay? My mom is an idiot, okay? She used to say these two things to me, okay? Garbage in, garbage out, and you are who you hang around with. Now, me being a 17-year-old teenager, of course not, Mom. I can control that. Now that I'm older, it is absolutely fucking true. Okay? You can get a lot of information about somebody based on the friends that they keep. Yep. That is a piece of advice I got as a kid that is absolutely true. If your girlfriend is hanging around a ton of fucking people like that, it's not that they might change her into doing something. It's that if she is the type of person to be friends with those people, then that's probably just indicative of more of her character. Mm-hmm. You are never going to be changing your partner's friend unless you're willing to go full, like lock them up in your basement or some shit. You're not going to be able to control your friend that much.
Exactly.
Or your partner.
Yeah. Birds of a feather. That's what they say. All right.
Okay.
Now, here's the fun part, right? Okay. You are allowed to, this is 10 lightning fire rounds. That I'm going to ask you. And you can skip one if you want. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready?
I am
You ready? You ready?
locked
Okay.
in.
All right. Here we go. TOA. T or A. Tits or ass.
1,000,000% ass. It's not even close.
All right. Who do you love more, black people or white people?
Why are you trying to jail me? I love all people. Okay.
You gotta pick one.
Why? You're baiting me hard. I
I
get
know. When you want to skip
liberal.
it, hold on. You get one skip. So do you want to use?
I'll do my one skip here. Yeah.
Ooh, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh shit! Wait, are you live streaming this?
Yes.
Okay, I had no idea. Jesus. Okay, sorry. I just saw my chat are all spamming Destiny yesterday. You have to answer because my chat's always open. I realized it's pretty crazy. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So do you you get one skip? You still want to skip that one?
Yeah. Well, what's the next one going to be? Like, do you love your
No. You don't
current
get
child
to
more or
no.
your
You
future
don't
child more?
get to know that. I'm just.
That's my skip. Yeah, that's my skip.
Okay, you only get one skip, right? You understand that, right?
I understand that.
All right, next one. Which state is better, Texas or Florida?
Florida.
Okay, if reincarnation was real, which one of these would you choose? You must pick one. To reincarnate and come back as a white female meth head or to come back as a black male crackhead?
Right. Probably a Jesus. I'm gonna say a white female meth head. You know, you can be on meth and do productive things. I don't know as much about crack. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, one push of a button would eliminate this ideology along with their followers. Which button would you push? To erase communism button or to erase Nazism button?
Okay, I would say communism, but that's because I don't think there are very many like fucking Nazis in the world right now.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's
it's that big of
true.
a problem. There's a lot of cringy fucking commies though right now.
Yeah. Okay, pick one. Living 25 years as a liberal or 75 years as a conservative?
And then you die?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the 75 years as a conservative. Okay.
Okay, who would you pick to be stranded on a desert island with? Bad Bunny or Demon Mama?
Where did you get these fucking questions?
Actually, I had somebody from your community help me with this one because I'm too busy to find out what's going on in your life. So they gave me.
You know what? I'd say Bad Bunny. I can bring her back. I can make her sane again. I'll go with that one.
Okay. If there's only one platform you could only stream on, which one would you pick? Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook?
Right now, I think I'd probably say YouTube. Slightly leaning towards YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. There are two people that are drowning and you only have one lifesaver and you can only give it to one person to save their life. Which person would you give it to? Mike from PA or Hassan Piker?
Oof. Can I jump in the water and just like float in it myself a little bit? I think Hassan is pretty dumb. But Mike is legitimately like an evil person. I would say Hassan easily. I wouldn't even have to think twice about it.
Wow. Okay. And here's the last one. They told me to do the FMK, fuck, marry, kill, but I decided to change it around to one night stand, marry, or send to Gitmo. Okay. All right. Here we go. Casey Tron, Anna, or Lauren Southern. Who would you have a one night stand with, marry, or send to Gitmo?
Why? Jeez, this is the most awkward questions.
It's the last one, by the way.
Okay. Oh man. Jesus. Okay, Casey Tron is going to Gitmo. Anna, I've already had a one night stand with, so I guess we'll just do another one. And then Lauren, I guess probably she seems like the most stable, sane person over a long period of time. So that would be my.
Yeah, you gosh.
Yeah, we did it.
All right. Congratulations. Okay.